Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor Nichivater and this is my March reading vlog and it's all about the Femathon. Here is my Femathon TBR for the month of March. I'm hoping to read all of these books and hopefully some more depending on how much I get read. The first book I started with was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is the only Kindle book on this TBR and I'm about 80 pages in so far and I'm really loving it. A good year ago now I started Wilder Girls and got about this point into the book as well, but just because it was a Kindle book I put it down for other books and never went back to it, so this is me now coming back to it and I'm really enjoying it. It's such an intriguing premise. It's this school for girls on an island and there's a thing called the talks and it's making some girls like bleed, sores come away, like parts of their body is coming off, like they're really ill and they're trapped on this island with this tox and so many of them are dying, and I think it's just an explanation of what's going on. I'm not that far into it yet so I can't say what's going on, but the characters have really interesting relationships so far and it's an all girls school, so yes, it's just really interesting. And yeah, I'm just so excited for this this month, this reading month, the Femathon. There's going to be so many live shows and things, and by the time you're watching this video it'll be over, so let me know in the comments if you took part in Femathon, what you got read, if you enjoyed it. I would love to have a chat with you as you follow through this month-long vlog. I'm hoping it's better than February. Certainly will be a much longer video because I'm aiming to vlog so much more because I'm reading more and I'm just really enthused with what I've got to read this month and who I'm doing this readathon with. As always, I'll leave all the links I can in the description for everyone taking part in the Femathon. I'm sure they'll have tons of videos up by the time you're seeing this video about what's going on, and I'm just really excited. So yeah, come along on this journey with me in this vlog and I'm hoping to get read a lot of books. Hello, I'm very excited to say that I finished my first book of the Femathon. I just finished Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I couldn't put it down. It was so good, so gripping, and definitely not a book for everyone. I can understand that, and I can see that in the comments that I see on Goodreads, that some people really love it and some people are just a bit disappointed by it and let down by the ending perhaps, but I loved it. It was kind of like Lord of the Flies mixed with a kind of pandemic kind of infection kind of thing. I don't really know how to describe it. It's a all-girls boarding school on a small island and they're infected with what they call the tox. Lots and lots of the girls and the teachers die, and the tox changes them, so things happen to their bodies physically, and they're changed by it. If you can hear that jingly bell, that's my cat having a scratch. He's very loud and noisy. And yeah, this is just a book about these girls surviving, and the female connections and the female relationships are great. I picked this book because for the title Femme Fights Back, because it's kind of like a science fiction, but most of the books I've picked for the Femathon fit multiple areas, so this book fits Femme Fights Back. It also fits platonic female relationships, and it also has LGBTQI plus rep as well, and I would say it was a bit feminine because they're just fighting for their lives, I suppose, or like, it's just excellent. Loved it to bits. So yeah, I'm really excited and really happy, and it's given me that good spring in my step for the start of this readathon and hoping I get a lot read. So the next book I'm going to pick up is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, and I'm going to just get stuck in and read more of this. And yeah, excited. So there's been a change of plan just because when can I ever stick to a TBR? So I read the first 10 pages of Into Drowning Deep by Myra Grant and I'm really interested and I'm really eager to read it, but I was hit with this sudden desire to reread Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire, so I did. I reread Every Heart a Doorway and I read it in one sitting because it's a novella and loved it. It's like the 4th or 5th time I've read that book. It does fit in with the theme of Femathon though. Female author, positive female relationships, and some this is a transgender character, and there's sapphic relationships throughout the series and things like that. So yeah, it fits totally. And then I thought today, oh, I should definitely pick up Into the Drowning Deep. But no, I haven't finished the We Were Children series, so I've picked up and I've read half of Come Tumbling Down. And I'm loving it. It's so good. So, yeah, slight deviation in the plan, but luckily they're just 2 novellas and I've read them really quickly. So it's not really going to impact my TBR hugely at large, because tomorrow is our PG read along live show, so I'll get a lot read of Into the Drowning Deep and I'll finally make headway in that book. So yeah, so it's great that I'll have read way more books in March now that I've read some of these novellas, but also I need to kind of stick to the TBR. I'm not good at sticking to TBRs. I don't ever make them because I just like mood reading. So yeah, hopefully I can finish all the books I have on my TBR and I don't deviate again. At least I'm going to try and commit to only reading books by female authors. So if I do deviate, I can try and wrangle it in to the Femathon a little bit if it's still by a female author. We shall see. I'll catch up with you tomorrow because I'll want to update you on how the live show went. Just a wee quick check-in. Last night we had the Femathon PG reading sprints live stream and it was really good. Thank you to those of you who turned up. I got quite a bit read of my book yesterday and I had a really great time with the other girls. We had a good chat and it was a good laugh. I started Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant and today I've also read a good chunk more. This book, I'm so intrigued by it. I'm loving Myra Grant's writing. I'm going to pick up all her other books because I'm reading this one and I loved her Newsflash series. But this book really triggers, like, I've got, like, I think it's called claustrophobia, like the fear of being trapped, and I don't like open water, like deep water in the ocean, and this is set in like the middle of the ocean, in the deepest part of the ocean, with like deep sea, what they're called, those kind of like mini submarines that are for like one person capsules and they go really deep. Oh, I can't do it. It's like, oh, makes me feel a bit panicky reading about it. Yeah, I hate being on boats and stuff like that. I don't enjoy it at all. But I'm loving the story. The mermaids in this are so creepy and intriguing, and I'm still trying to learn and work out what's going on with them. And it's nice and really fun to have a mermaid story that's like dangerous and dark and horror, and not like a fluffy kind of romanticized version of them. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving this so much. So it's been quite the week. I've had lots of things going on at work. It's just been a chaotic week. So I've not picked up the camera. I've just not been in the mood to update you, even though a lot's happened and I have read a lot. For me anyway, I've read a lot. So the last time I spoke to you, I'd read just a little bit of Into the Drowning Deep, but I'll update you in the order of everything that I read, just to keep myself straight. So I'd started and read half of Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire. I finished that, I absolutely loved it, and I'm going to buy the next ebook in the series and be up to date. I really enjoyed it. It was great being back with the characters of Jack and Jill. I really enjoyed that series, and I just like how different each of the books are and how they all kind of loosely kind of tie in together, and they all are very different. And yeah, it totally fits in with the theme of the Femathon, so I'm not mad about deviating to read from that series, because there's just so much about the Femathon fits fantastically into that series, so I'm not mad about it. And then I was like, I want more novellas in my life. I really, really wanted to read The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, and I've wanted to read them for quite a while. But again, it's a novella series like the We Were Children series, and I'm not paying like £12 per hardback for a novella, so I bought the ebooks. and I justified it to myself because it's still a female author, and the main character is a robot, and they don't have a gender, so just say they're non-binary. So I feel like that counts, and I'm having a great time. So I read the first one, All Systems Red, and I've also read the second one, Artificial Condition. And I really liked both. Murderbot is just a great character. They are just so sassy and so full of character. They get into all these sorts of situations, and their interactions with other humans and trying to fit in, and all of that when they just want to watch basically like soap opera TV is what they want to watch. It's really funny, and I just love the humour in it. It's great to read science fiction that is meant to be funny rather than super serious and super like political and all the rest of it. So I'm really enjoying that. So I might just kind of continue going on reading them whilst actually reading my Femathon TBR. Speaking of which, I finished Into the Drowning Deep by Mara Grant. Yay, another book off of my TBR. Just as well, there's still quite a lot of time left in March. So I will succeed, and I will have read a lot of books because I'm reading so many novellas right now. I'm just so in like a big reading mood. I love this. It is a little bit slow to start just because there's so many characters with different scientific specialities to kind of introduce in the beginning. So it is a little bit slow while you're trying to catch your footing and work out who, what, where, when, why. But once you get on to the ship and things start happening, they happen quick. And it's such a tense read, full of such a suspense. And I love the characters, I love the representation, and I really like the kind of evolution of the scientists working out what's in the deep and mermaids and working out like more about them. And I'm trying not to spoil it, but like all the things that are unveiled about all the situations and stuff like that and what happens to all the people on board. It's just such a fantastic story. It was gripping. I was on my edge of my seat, and I read the last 100 pages in like one sitting because I couldn't breathe, and I was just like, need to finish it. Such a tense read, but in a really, really good way, in a really satisfying way. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm just so wanting to go pick up every other book Myra Grant / Sean McGuire has read, and I just think it's quite funny that I'm reading from the same author, because if you didn't know, Sean McGuire and Myra Grant are the same person, but and they're totally different like genres. Like Myra Grant is like more horror, and I'm just having a great time. So yeah, I'm not quite sure yet which book on my TBR I'm going to pick up next. I might try and read some of my non-fiction, just because that's going to be a slow read for me, just because I don't really read non-fiction very much. So I might pick up that next. But yeah, this was quite a long clip, but that's just because I had a week's worth of reading to catch up on. I'm going to try and not leave such a big gap, and I'm going to have to just stop saying that I'm going to stop doing that, because I keep doing that and I keep leaving a gap anyway. But I'm going to stop rambling, and I'll see you in the next clip. I'm just now checking in. I didn't really get anything read over the weekend, excuse my wild look. It's 10 o'clock at night, and it was a Monday at work, which is all I can say for it. I have started, I can't really hold it up, On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful graphic novel. The artwork is stunning, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I've read that much so far. It's obviously a very quick read because it is a graphic novel. I'll show you more pictures maybe in a day or two when I can show you from a different angle. It's far too heavy to hold up and show you the inside with one hand. The artwork is stunning, and it's set present in the book, and then there's 5 years previous, and I love the present has a kind of purplish, reddish hue to it, and the storyline of the past, 5 years in the past, has a kind of blue hue to it, and there's a kind of like a melding of the two, flicking backwards and forth between the two storylines, and it's just stunning. All the characters are women or non-binary, as far as I'm aware, and it's just such an interesting science fiction kind of story, very whimsical, and I'm loving it. So good so far. Really, really enjoying it, and that's what I'm reading. I also started the third Murderbot book today. I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm reading it on a Kindle and I don't have my Kindle here with me right now. Can't remember the name of it. I'll write it here if I remember when I'm editing. I started that today as well. So I'm also continuing on with my novella reads. That's really what's going to up my number of books that I read this month, is all the novellas I've got to. And yeah, that's kind of my wee check-in. And I think I'll show you. Look, here's Calcifer. I don't think we've had him much yet this vlog. There he's there. Very sleepy. Got all this fluff. He doesn't know what's coming. Tomorrow on the 16th is his 7th month birthday, and he'll be 7 months old. And it's also, he's got an appointment with the vet and he's getting neutered tomorrow, so he's not going to be a happy bunny tomorrow, so I may or may not show you what he's like tomorrow. He's going to be a wee bit miserable, but it needs to happen. But yeah, that's all, and I'll check back in with you soon. So again, it's been a couple of days. I finished the third Murderbot Diaries novella, Rogue Protocol, and again, really enjoyed it. I'm just loving Murderbot's sense of humour, and I'm liking where the story is going. I find it really interesting. The science of this world I'm loving, is so interesting, and even though they're novellas, I feel like you get so much information. And I looked up because I've started the fourth Murderbot novella. I think the fifth one is actually a full-length novel, so I'm actually quite excited to kind of read that as well. Who knows if I'll actually get to that in March, if that's a full-length novel. It might not happen, but I love the characters and relationships, because Murderbot is like a kind of now sentient kind of robot. They are learning how to be human and to pass as human, and they're learning about how to deal with all their emotions and things like that. I love the situations they get themselves into and out of, and I'm just having a great time. I've also read more of On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is a really heavy book to hold up, and the artwork in here is stunning, and I'm loving the two stories kind of told in parallel, like 5 years apart. Don't know if you can hear my cat. And graphic novels don't ever have much written because it's all about the visuals, but I'm finding myself like really emotional when reading this. It's so beautiful, and it's just a heartbreaking story, and I'm just getting really absorbed in it, and I'm loving the characters. I'm really enjoying where it's going, and just the artwork is stunning. So I would totally recommend that if you can get a copy of this. I know that you could read it kind of online, and then they started printing copies. It was like a webcomic to begin with, I think, so I don't know if you can maybe access that online for free or cheaper if you don't want to fork out the money for like the hard copy, because they can be quite expensive, because you know, graphic novels are expensive in general. But I just think it's a really, really beautiful story, and I think the gist I'm getting is all the characters are female or non-binary, and yeah, it's just beautiful. The relationships in here are stunning. I'm loving it. And yeah, I think I'll show you a wee bit of the artwork if I can do this awkwardly on my sofa, because this book is so heavy. And I love the design choice of like the present is with this kind of purple hue, and the past is blue, and then there are other pops of colour here and there to give light relief, and I just think it's a stunning book and really, really, really pretty and perfect for the Femathon. Platonic female relationships, LGBTQI plus representation, feminism as well. Also Fem Fights Back, because it's a sci-fi graphic novel series, well, book, not series. So it fits so many of the criteria for the Femathon, and I'm loving it. And when you're watching this video, it'll have passed, but tomorrow night we have our Lord of the Rings gender bent recasting, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've been working on my computer making my PowerPoint with all the pictures of the cast and who I would recast them as. So I'm really getting into it and making a proper PowerPoint, because that's how I roll. But I'll leave a link to the live stream below if it's still up on Faye's channel, so you can check it out if you're interested in seeing who we would recast for a feminine cast. So it's been a couple of days again. On Saturday I took part in the Lord of the Rings gender bent recasting with Faye and Kayla. I'll leave their channels linked below, and I'll also leave the link to that live stream as well if you're interested in watching it. It was great fun, and it was really funny that we had a lot of overlapping actresses, but we had them as different characters, so I thought that was really funny, and yeah, it was just a good laugh. So I'll leave that linked below if you're interested in watching that if you missed it. I've continued to read On a Sunbeam. I don't have the book here, I've left it in the living room. I am loving this graphic novel. It's so moving, and I'm getting like quite emotional with some parts of it because it's just such a heartfelt story. I'm really enjoying it. I've also finished the 4th Murderbot Diaries novella, Exit Strategy. Really loved that. Murderbot got kind of reunited with some characters that he met in a previous novella. Some timelines, no. Some overarching plots kind of tied up and linked together. And yeah, I'm just loving the adventure of Murderbot and all the shenanigans they get up to. It's great fun. Really loving the sci-fi series a lot. But today I started Run Rebel by Manjeet Man. This was the buddy book that you could join in with for the Femathon. And I think a few people have joined in. We have a Discord group, and we're going to be discussing this book as we go. I've divided it into 5 sections, and I believe Faye is doing that too. So I read my first section for today, so it's about 90 something pages. It is written in verse, and like I thought it would, this is a difficult, challenging book for me. I'm really interested in the concept. I love the character of Amber, and the way it's told is such a kind of impactful and emotional kind of angle, because it is written in verse. So her struggling home life, her kind of poorer and like upbringing, and the struggles she's facing in her kind of friend group and things like that, they're all very emotional things, and I think it's going to be a great story. But because it's written in verse, I am struggling, because it's about your pacing and it's about how you read it, and I'm not a huge reader of poetry anyway. So it's just a book in a format that I'm not familiar with, and I'm not really enjoying too much. So although I'm loving the story, and I'm really enjoying Amber's character, and I love like the layout of the book, I love like how different sections, I can't even show you like this, are written, and words are emphasised in bold for greater impact. I think that's like a really amazing like typefaced kind of style that the author and like editor has chosen to do for this book. I think it's all really clever and really brilliant. It's just in a format that's just not the best for me. But I'm looking forward to discussing this in the Discord group with everyone else, and to see what everyone else thinks, because I'm sure some of them have read way more verse books and poetry books than I have, and maybe love it greatly. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that kind of discussion. Got about 9 days left in March for the Femathon, and I still have to start my non-fiction read and my classic. So I'm hoping to kind of get started on that in the next couple of days and kind of prioritise that more. I've kind of been distracted with all these novellas about Murderball and things like that, but I've just been having a great time, and it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't get to them. But yeah, that's my update for today. So I finished On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden, and I absolutely adored this. By the time you're seeing this vlog, my full-length review, no spoilers, will be up, and I'll leave it linked below if you want more in-depth thoughts. But this was a beautiful story from start to end. The characters were wonderful. Like, the love story was wonderful. The science fiction element was beautiful. I loved the kind of way this science fiction world was like portrayed, and it was not very detailed and very deeply explained, but it very much gave a brief glimpse of this world, and I loved it. I'm not very articulate with it. Nothing big or dramatic happens in this story. Like, a lot of sci-fi stories are very huge and affect a whole culture and a whole species, and they're always at war and there's something bigger going on. But this was just about the immediate characters affected, and it was just a magical story. Beautiful illustrations, and I would encourage you to pick it up. It is quite expensive to buy this beautiful hardback, but I'll leave the website linked below where you can read it in full, because originally Tilly Walden published it bit by bit as a web series and a webcomic, and you can read it for free online. So yeah, I would really encourage you to just check it out. It's a very heavy book to be holding up. I've also read more of Run Rebel by Manjit Man. The yellow bookmark is where I've got to. I was aiming to have this finished by today because I had it sectioned to 5 days, but time got away from me, other things came up. But I'm hoping to finish it this weekend, just because those of us in the Discord are chatting about it a wee bit, and yeah, I've got thoughts. I am really enjoying this. It is a very sad and emotive book. I'm feeling a lot of feelings, and I'm feeling angry on Amber's behalf, and just upset that she's not got the same opportunities as others just because of her family and her cultural upbringing being the way it is. Like, she's not free to make her own decisions and her own choices as a young woman. She's under the control of her family, more so her dad, and it's just very eye-opening, and yeah, it's just making me quite sad. And I'm really hoping that by the end of this, that Amber does get to run and does get to break free, I suppose I should say. But yeah, it's very emotional, and the writing is really, really beautiful, because it is verse, it is very pared back, and I think it is just the emotions that are left, it's just stripped bare, and I think that works perfectly for what this book is trying to do, and the kind of how eye-opening Manjit Man is trying to make this story be to those in a similar situation to Amber. I also still haven't picked up either my last 2 books that are on my TBR, The Wizards of Earthsea by Ursula Gwynn. I'm going to try and actually start this tomorrow as well, because if I start them all, then maybe I'll make more progress if I'm flitting between the books. Sometimes I just not in the mood for one thing in particular. I also haven't started my non-fiction, The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Winjin Wang. I haven't started this, and I am wanting to read this. I'm just very particular about when I can read non-fiction, and I actually think I've discovered that, sorry, my arm's getting tired. I actually think I prefer consuming non-fiction as audiobooks, and I can't get this on audiobook just now, so I'll need to just take this more slowly and read it at my own pace. So I'm not sure I'll get this read by the end of March for the Femathon, but I have instead been listening to, can't remember off the top of my head the title of it, but it is the collection of speeches that Greta Thunberg has done on, like, kind of the environment and the state of the world. I've managed to get that from my library on audiobook, and I've listened to half of that, and I'm really enjoying that, and I think I'm going to make that my non-fiction read for the Femathon, just as I'll tick that box, and I'll maybe read this another time and split up the essays. And I just never prioritised it this month, and at this point, because it's non-fiction, I'm not really going to get it read, I don't think. But the Greta Thunberg book, well, it's a collection of her speeches. They are really good, but because it's speeches and I'm listening to them all back to back, there is a bit of repetition, but it's not necessarily bad. A lot of her points are really well made and deserve to be repeated and heard. And so yeah, she's a very good speaker for someone so young. She's very talented, and I think it's important that we prioritise the environment and sustainability and really listen to the state of the world and try and do something about it. So yes, I would recommend that. So yeah, I'll see you in the next bit. So I did manage to finish Run Rebel by Magic Man, and I really enjoyed it. But it's strange to say that I enjoyed it because it is a very challenging book. It's about abusive home situations. It's about bullying and all sorts of hard, difficult subjects. And I think Magic Man tackles it all and handles it all very, very beautifully and in such a realistic way. I don't have any lived experiences, especially with like Run Rebels, not Run Rebels, with the character Amber's like life situation, and because of her race and the way she's perceived by society and the rules and challenges that come with that from within the community that her family is a part of, was very eye-opening to see. I don't really know much about that personally, and I just thought it was very eye-opening to see it from this perspective, and having it in verse just kind of stripped back everything else away. It was just the emotion, it was just the main story, it was the thought and the feeling and the kind of sheer impact of what this was having on Amber, and I think that was done very well. I did sometimes still struggle with it being in verse because it's not really a format I've ever read from before, and I don't read a lot of poetry, but I still think it was done very, very, very well. And if you're interested in this at all, I would highly recommend you pick it up. It is a very quick read because it is in verse, and it packs a punch. You do get really emotionally invested very quickly, and you want the best for Amber and the situation that she's in, and you don't know if she's going to get it. And I just think it's a very interesting and eye-opening journey. I don't have any other words. And then I did start my classic read, which I realised after I opened the book is actually A Wizard of Earthsea, because the A is like illustrated. I didn't really realise it was A Wizard of Earthsea until I saw like the kind of title page once you open it up. I'm not too far into it yet, and I've got 150 pages to go, so it isn't much, but because it is classic, it is a slow read, and I've only got a couple more days left. But I am determined to finish this before then. But it is a very slow read, and it is very much world building right now. But it seems interesting so far. The magic seems interesting, and the main protagonist you're following seems like they're going somewhere. I don't really know what else to say. It is a very, very confusing world. Let me just show you the map, actually, because they keep talking about all these places in Earthsea. And, well, obviously Earthsea makes sense that there's lots of water, but it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of tiny little islands with all these names, and it's all to do with like ships and sailing between all these places, and already I'm very, very confused about where they are, where they're going, who's from what place. I love a map, but this is a very, very confusing one. So we'll see how that goes. And I am still listening to the audiobook for Greta Thunberg, her like speeches. I'm still listening to that, and I should get that done soon because it wasn't a very long one, and that's going to take the place for my non-fiction read. So still making headway, and we're nearly there, nearly at the end of the Femathon. So it's the last day of the Femathon, and yay, we made it. This will have been a very, very, very long vlog. So if you've persevered this far, leave me a purple love heart in the comments for the Femathon. But yeah, I've loved every minute of this. I didn't quite complete it. I have not finished Wizard of Earthsea. This last couple of days of this month has been a bit chaotic with me for work and personal reasons as well. So I have not managed to pick up a book in the last day or two. So I haven't finished this. But But I read 11 books this month, and that is pretty unheard of for me. I got a bit carried away with all my novellas and stuff I was reading. They weren't on my TBR, but I have loved every minute of it, and this was a low-key kind of readathon. There's no penalties for me not completing it. I've read so many amazing books. The only kind of tile on the bingo board that I didn't complete was the classic, and that's what A Wizard of Earthsea was the classic. But every other book I read filled all the prompts, and some of them filled multiple prompts. So I read way more than I needed to because I got carried away, as I said. But I had such a great time. I did it with some amazing people. I've met more people through this that I wasn't already chatting to in that online. And yeah, I've had so much fun. I've read loads and loads of books by women. I've been exposed to way more books, and I just had a grand old time reading lots of amazing books. So thank you for persevering through this very long vlog. Let me know if you participated in the Femathon. Tonight, it will have already happened when you watch this video, so I'll leave a link to it below. We're doing a live stream as a wrap up for the Femathon. So there's a couple of us, be hosted on Faye's channel, and we're just going to wrap up the Femathon, probably discuss what our favourite books were, what we got read, how we thought it went, things like that. It's going to be great fun. I'll leave that linked below if you want to watch it. But yeah, let me know if you participated, what some of your favourite books were that you read, or if you learned about other books that you're really interested in reading, let me know. And I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you aren't already. I'd love to have you here on my channel, and I've got more content coming soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.